She begged for mercy for her people, and received only mockery. The people of Coventry were starving under taxes that left them nothing. Earl Leofric of Mercia, one of the most powerful nobles in 11th century England, had imposed duties that crushed farmers and tradesmen alike. They worked endless hours and watched their earnings vanish into the earl's coffers. They suffered in silence. What could ordinary people do against a lord who answered to no one but the king? The earl's gold came from their hunger, and one lady could not accept it, but they had an unexpected champion in Leofric's own wife. Lady Godiva was deeply pious, a founder of monasteries and patron of churches. She had a tender heart for suffering, and the cries of Coventry's poor reached her daily. She began to press her husband about mercy, about a lord's duty to his people, about the sin of grinding the poor into dust for the sake of gold. Leofric dismissed her. Taxes were necessary. The earl needed funds. This was not a lady's concern. But Godiva persisted, returning again and again to the subject until her husband's patience snapped. "I will lower the taxes," he said mockingly, "if you ride naked through the marketplace of Coventry." He meant it as an absurd condition. Something no noble lady would ever consider, something that would silence her forever. Godiva looked at her husband and did not refuse. The ride she made her decision. She would accept the challenge. What was her modesty compared to the suffering of thousands? She had been given power and privilege. The least she could do was use them, even at the cost of her dignity. The streets were empty, the shutters closed, and she rode alone for her people. But Godiva was wise as well as brave. She sent a proclamation throughout Coventry. On a certain day, at a certain hour, she would ride through the marketplace. All citizens were commanded to remain indoors with shutters closed. No one was to look upon her. If they obeyed, they would show their respect for her sacrifice. If they looked, they would betray the very woman suffering for their sake. The day arrived. The streets fell silent. Every door was bolted, every shutter drawn, every window covered. The people of Coventry would not repay their lady's courage with dishonor. They sat in darkness, listening, as the sound of a single horse's hoofs echoed through empty streets. Godiva emerged on a white horse, her long golden hair covering her body like a cloak. She rode slowly through the deserted marketplace, head held high. Not one person looked, or almost not one. The one who looked, almost everyone obeyed, but one man, a tailor named Thomas, forever afterward known as Peeping Tom, could not resist. He drilled a small hole in his shutter and pressed his eye to it, hoping to catch a glimpse as the countess passed. He saw what he should not have seen, and never saw anything again. In that instant, according to the legend, divine judgment struck him blind. He would never see anything again. Punishment for violating the compact between Godiva and her people. The term, Peeping Tom, entered English forever after, meaning anyone who spies on others without permission. Godiva completed her ride and returned to the castle. She had fulfilled her husband's impossible demand. Now it was his turn to keep his word. The promise kept. Earl Leofric was shamed. He had set an impossible condition expecting it would never be met. His wife had called his bluff. To refuse now would mark him as a man without honor. He had set an impossible condition, and she had met it, making him the lesser one. Leofric lowered the taxes. The people of Coventry celebrated, praising the countess who had sacrificed for them. The story spread across England and beyond. Here was a noblewoman who took noblesse oblige seriously, who used her position to help those below her, who risked everything for people she would never know. The historical Lady Godiva lived until around 1067. Whether she actually rode through Coventry is almost certainly legendary. The account first appears in Roger of Wendover's Chronicles around 1235. But the story endures because it embodies a powerful truth, that real nobility means serving those below you, even at great personal cost. Coventry still celebrates her today. A statue of her on horseback stands in the city center. Her courage became the city's identity, a reminder that sometimes dignity is measured not by keeping clothes on but by what you are willing to strip away for the right reason.